What up, what up? Welcome on in to Inside Baylor Sports, the official daily podcast of Baylor Athletics. On today's show, we're talking Scott Drew and Kaden Jenkins. We'll also talk about Baylor acrobatics and tumbling, but two big-time interviews with Drew and Jenkins live right now at BaylorPlus.com. All that and more coming up on the show. Don't forget, you can catch Inside Baylor Sports every weekday. You can also watch the video version for free over at BaylorPlus.com and on the Baylor Athletics YouTube channel. Like, subscribe, rate, and review the pod, and follow Baylor Plus today on X, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. It's the official content network of Baylor Athletics. Think Netflix for your Baylor Bears. Download the app on your mobile device and sign up for your free 7-day trial today at BaylorPlus.com. It's Wednesday, April 24, 2024. Justin Hoff alongside the Baylor Plus General Manager, Edward Corin. Edward, always great to have you. My background's a little bit different. I'm back in the friendly confines of West Virginia, a state I lived from 2013 to 14. I couldn't live there any longer than that, but I'm back here again for Baylor Acrobatics and Tumbling, their national championships coming up this week. Excited about that. I know we're going to have some stuff on the show again, but are you missing me? Are you having some withdrawals, me being out of the 254?
I'm good, my man. I am good. I think being on the road suits you. Where you at? Where they got you staying at there? That's a interesting background.
Yeah, so I don't know if I want to give out my exact location to you. Okay, I'm kidding. So we're in Bridgeport, West Virginia.
Okay.
And we are competing at Fairmont State University. So it's just up the road. It's about 25, 30 minutes from Morgantown. And of course, for our Baylor fans, you think about guys like Dale Bonner, Jalen Bridges. They're from this area. So it's funny, a small world, right? Coming here. So we had a nice flight from Texas, DFW to Pittsburgh and made the drive down here. So looking forward to that. But I know these last couple of days, man, Baylor Plus is hopping right now. A couple exclusive interviews. The first one you guys had was Kaden Jenkins. We know him as the freshman All-American. Here's a quick clip from Kaden.
Really a easy decision because I always wanted to be here. I never felt like another school had what this school got and the love that this school shows and stuff. So having the players, my teammates and the coaches just on my side and just being there for me, it really helped me out. And talking to God too, he told me that this place right here is the spot for you. So that's why I decided to stay.
Kaden Jenkins there on his decision to stay as a Baylor Bear. Of course, we saw the tweet back in November and one of the top players for Baylor. Edward, you got that interview. What'd you learn about Kaden?
Yeah, the full thing is great. He had a lot of great things to say, and how exciting is it to have him back in the fold? Obviously, in the crazy times of collegiate sports with the transfer portal and NIL, you want to retain these guys who show up on the freshman All-American list. But he said he's an outdoorsy guy, so we might have to do some day in the life stuff with him pretty soon. See what he's like. But he said he likes the outdoors, and yeah, just really down to earth. His twin brother Cam was there listening in on the conversation with John Morris, and yeah, it was a good time. Good brothers, and maybe we'll see them both back there in the secondary playing with each other this year.
I always find identical twins. They're identical, right?
I don't know, but I could tell them apart when they were standing there. There's a good segment in that interview with JMO about how in flag football or little league football, as he called it, that they sometimes would play pranks on their coaches and switch numbers and pretend to be the other one. They don't do a lot of the Freaky Friday switcheroo stuff anymore, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think they're identical. I could tell them apart when they were standing next to each other, but I'm not 100% sure.
Well, you got good eyes. You got good eyes, better eyes than me. My eyes are a little bit older than you. But yeah, I'll say not that old. That's Jerry Hill. Okay. So I'll say in terms of you think about identical twins, just for this segment, for this take, let's just say they are identical twins.
Sure.
I've always wanted to have an identical twin. Okay.
Yeah.
Man, the things you could do, the pranks you could do, you think about high school, middle school, when you're a teenager, all those things that have gone through our minds. But yeah, that'd be something else, but also very strange to see someone that looks just like you roaming around.
Right. Yeah. That'd be cool. I'm sure it would have its perks and its disadvantages. But yeah, if there's another Kaden Jenkins out there who can suit up for Baylor and be in the secondary, I'm all for it. So glad to have Cam, glad to have Kaden, both of them playing defense for the Bears this upcoming fall.
Yeah, I mean, Caden's just a difference maker. He just looks like a player out there, right? You just see him. He's got great height at the cornerback position, about 6'1", 175. This is a guy, and you think about Baylor University, they've had some corners that have went on to play in the NFL. Of course, Xavier Howard, one of the best corners over the last 7-8 years in terms of interceptions. Still looking for a team, by the way. Would love to see him with the Houston Texans here staying after their nice jersey reveal. Would love to see that there for Howard and company. But yeah, I think the sky's the limit. I know we talked about this the other night with Jerry, but Kaden Jenkins, just love a lockdown corner. I mean, a shutdown corner, that's so important. You think about the important positions in football. You think about quarterback. You think about the blind side, the left tackle, the edge rushers, and the corners, the lockdown corners.
Yeah, and you think about just his ability to change a game too, even when it's not in terms of coverage. We saw it with the UCF game, his ability, just the pure athleticism. He was doing this stuff at such a young age, just scooping that ball up off the ground, staying up and taking it to the house. Just his intangibles alone and his build and his frame, it's prototypical what you want to see in one of your better defenders. So really excited for his future here at Baylor.
Yeah, I know he talks about that play. What a play that was, 72 yards going the other way. I know I was there seeing that. It was a wild game, one of the craziest games I think I remember on the gridiron. Yeah. But yeah, speaking of excitement, it doesn't get much more excited or person-wise than Scott Drew. Scott Drew visited with you guys. J-Mo been busy this week. J-Mo, a legend, a national treasure for us here at Baylor. But he had some time to catch up with Coach Drew, and here's Coach on his decision to stay at Baylor.
God called us to come here, and our players are faced with tough decisions all the time. And sometimes it's easier to preach a sermon than to actually live it out, and going through tough decisions yourself and how you go about that. And to me, it was a great because I haven't done that in a while, where I've had a real tough decision, and through a lot of prayer and godly counsel, I was able to seek God's will and my family's will, and make sure my priorities were in order. And God opens doors, closes doors based on you having, we have a culture of joy, Jesus, others, yourself. And based on those principles, it's easy to make godly decisions. And again, I don't know, no one's perfect. That's why we're all saved through grace on this earth, but a great deal of peace when you make a decision in a godly manner and fashion. And so blessed to have an opportunity to work at a great school like Baylor University, where all three of my kids have been born and raised, and that's all they know. And Mackenzie's finishing up her sophomore year at Baylor, and I have a sophomore in high school and a sixth grader in high school. And my wife loves it, and we're just really blessed to be able to have a community that you can call home and have such strong feelings and admiration for.
Love those words from Coach Drew. Of course, faith really important to Coach Drew and us here at Baylor University. He just that's him, right? That's authentic. Nothing about what he just said was fake. We know Coach Drew well, and just his words over the years, and really his actions speak louder than his words. And the program that he's put together, you got a legacy here. Why leave it, right? Instead, let's build on it.
For sure. And we were walking through the walls and the offices to set up for this interview the other day, and you see all of the accomplishments that he has here, and all the players he's impacted, and all the coaches that he's had on staff. It's just like, how could you go? You got the Foster Pavilion coming, you got a great freshman class, you've got such a legacy. And so obviously we're super excited to have him back. And that interview is great. There's a lot more to it I think we went for about 25 minutes, and that's free to watch over at BaylorPlus.com. If you are interested in watching that full thing, check out the description of this episode. I'll link that episode for fans to go watch.
25 minutes of pure gold and some excitement. Okay. If you need to wake up in the morning, get off your bed and listen to this. Okay. And so I'm fired up for it. I know we've talked about it before. Like this is a coach I'd run through a brick wall for Coach Drew.
Oh, yeah.
He tells me to jump off the bridge. I'm not a good swimmer. I'm still jumping. Okay. And I'll figure it out on the way down. But that's
I would
that's
like to see you try to run through a brick wall. We should try that.
I don't think my wife would appreciate that. There are days where she'd probably, maybe she would appreciate that. But yeah, I'll say, man, just excited about Coach Drew. And, one thing Kentucky is obviously a national power, right? We know basketball, and Kentucky's one of the bluest of the bloods. That's what Coach Cal said when he was there. And Coach, here's another clip on him talking about Kentucky in the state.
You've had opportunities in the past. This year, it seemed different.
Well, I think this year a little more in the media probably is why. And I know you're from Kentucky, and you gave me 105 reasons why Texas is better than Kentucky, and I appreciated that.
Yeah, thanks.
But I do know when you talk about programs like Louisville and Kentucky, you're talking about programs similar to Baylor, national champions, a lot of attention, a lot of excitement, and Kentucky being the winningest basketball program in the country, and we're chasing them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Drew says we're chasing them. I'll say this much too. Edward, you know this, but we live in the world today, okay? And many of the players that come to school, they didn't watch, or in many cases, they don't care what happened with Kentucky basketball in the 1950s, 60s, and 70s, okay? It's about what have you done for me lately, right? We've heard that word before. And so you think about the last 5 years, there's no Power 5 program in the country that has a better winning percentage than Baylor. Also, we've won a national championship, 2 Big 12 titles, and the best conference in America. So that's really important. You think about what programs in the last 5 years, what's the tradition look like there? And that's where Baylor, honestly, has and will continue, hopefully, to have a leg up on Kentucky and some others.
And if you listen to that interview, Coach Drew has all of those stats about the success at Baylor, and he rattles them off the top of his head, way more in depth than you just went. I'm talking even down to NBA draft picks, tournament success, each of the past 3 or 4 years, whatever that looks like. But yeah, just when you think about college basketball right now, you think about Coach Drew and you think about Baylor, and you think about them being a top 10 team, having a chance to cut it down at the end of the season every year. And as long as Coach Drew is here, that's not going to change. It's just not. He's built a true powerhouse in this sport.
Yeah, and you can ask yourself, who won a national championship more recent, Baylor or Kentucky? The answer to that riddle is Baylor. And so once again, just a great program. And this is a program, right? It's not built by necessarily, it's built by a lot of people. Obviously, Coach Drew, the captain of the ship, but it takes more than one and what he's put together. And, you think about that. Top 16 picks, 3 straight years for Baylor, looking for number 4. Of course, Jacoby Walter has been in the lottery talk all season long, put together a great season. He was the Big 12 Freshman of the Year. Then you got Eve Messi, who many expect to be a first-round draft pick, somewhere in that 15 to 30 range. And then just the other day, Jalen Bridges entered the 2024 NBA draft. He's expected to be somewhere in that 30 to 40 range. And so Baylor could have 3 draft picks. And if all the guys in the NBA stay right now and we have them for next year, that Baylor could have as many as 12 players in the NBA. And that's one of the tops in America.
For sure. And Jalen's someone who I think at the next level is really going to excel. If you look just at the game in the pros right now, he fits the bill.
Yeah, I think Jalen's one of those guys, and Jalen's been great in college. And it's funny because right now I'm in West Virginia, right? Basically at his home, right? Just outside of Fairmont, where he's from. getting ready for the national championships on A&T side. But yeah, Jalen's one of those guys. You look at him and you speak of the 3-and-D and just the ability to shoot 40% from three. Like, he could do that at the NBA level.
For sure.
And not only that, like, he's just got some other parts to his game, and he makes winning plays. And he's just a smart guy out there on the floor, high basketball IQ. I could see him having being better in the NBA than he is in college, like more productive wise. And so, I see him as a guy that will be in that rotation, somebody off the bench, but I could see him one day being a starter, an everyday starter in the NBA for a couple years.
For sure. He's just one of those guys who there's a handful of them every draft in the NBA where you look at the back half of the first round and there's these big wings who can shoot it, who might not be the flashiest player or have the flashiest highlights or the biggest numbers, but they're the guys who last the longest in the NBA because the role that they play is so valuable. And Jalen Bridges fits that bill to a T. So I'm excited about his future and super excited to see where he goes in the draft in June.
Yeah, you don't have to look any further. I mean, Baylor's got a couple of those cats right now in the league. You think about Taurean Prince, who's made his way around a few different teams, of course, playing now with the Lakers. He's that sixth man, the guy that gets the most minutes off the bench, could be a starter on several teams, but a playoff team there. And then Royce O'Neal, a guy that has been a fixture. In every season Royce O'Neal has played, Edward, in the NBA, he's played in the playoffs. I mean, this guy – he just finds a way. It doesn't matter what team he's on, if it's in the Eastern Conference or the Western Conference, he does that. And I fully anticipate Jalen Bridges to be in that mold, like a Royce O'Neal, Taurean Prince, and he'll have that type of career. And, man, that type of career is pretty good. It comes with a lot of zeros.
Yeah, and you think about the opportunity for Jalen. These teams, if he slides up into the back half of the first round, this is where all the good teams are picking. And so a good situation, somewhere he can learn from good players and develop, I think would be really beneficial for him. And I think will set him up for success.
So you can catch those two interviews, Scott Drew and also Kaden Jenkins, right now on BaylorPlus.com. And coming soon, our own Jerry Hill will sit down with Coach Aranda for a post-spring recap. So take a look at all the things that happened during spring football and, give us a little sneak peek into what it looks like for next fall. It's never too early to think about next fall. And, being out here in West Virginia, you drive by Milan Puskar Stadium, where the Mountaineers play, of course. Today we went by there, and you just think about, man, football season. You can kind of almost smell it in the air. We got a hot summer to deal with before that. Yeah. But before you know it, Edward, we'll be playing some ball out there at McLean.
Yeah, it's Wednesday today. Tomorrow the NFL draft starts, so it's already picking back up. The calendar's turning over, and it feels never ending, my friend. Football season always gets here in a hurry, so we'll get through these last few weeks with the college athletic calendar, and hopefully take a little break, and then we'll be right back into it. And I'm excited. I love football, and we'll have the new game that we talk about every episode on this podcast to play.
Yeah, it's one of those situations too, and I know it's leaked a little bit where there's, it's funny. You can make a records request, and on social media, some have done that. Obviously, as a private school, we don't necessarily do that, the public schools, but where reporters have shown like what images we've sent, right? And so just for a kind of a peel back behind the scenes there, about a year ago is when that happened, right? The EA Sports reached out and wanted some images for the game and things like that, and the fight songs and different traditions and things that we do. And so you're going to see all that in the game. Those are things that came to our team, the creative team, the branding team, and we were able to send those things off. And so, for some people out there, it's like, wow, it's really cool. Like, we're so into the weeds, like it's just another day, right? But I cannot wait to get out there on the field, take on Edward Corrin, and make you look silly.
Hey, so Kaden, he's going to be in the game. He told us this in the JMO interview. What's your rating prediction for him? And then I'll tell you what he gave himself.
I think Kaden, he may not start here, but I think he definitely deserves to be kind of low to mid 80s, I would say.
Okay.
He's just a freshman. So people be sleeping on him, but I'd say by the end of the season, let's get him to about 85.
Yeah, okay. He said 80. He said he deserved an 80. I thought that was pretty humble.
We're close.
I will say before the cameras started rolling, he said 75. So once those cameras come on, he's a confident guy, which is what you want out of your star cornerback, right?
Yep. I agree with him. I think it's low to mid 80s. So maybe he starts low, and by the end of the season, because remember, this is going to update just like Madden. Okay.
Yeah, that's cool.
So there'll be updates, throughout, whether, different things happen with teams and things like that. So you're going to see in December, hopefully Kaden Jenkins gets up there 85. And hey, we can push it up a little bit more if he's getting, a lot of picks and different things like that. If he has a few more UCF like plays.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to play. And but right now, we're focused here and now. And, of course, acrobatics and tumbling coming up. We'll have more conversations about that. But really excited about this. Saturday, the championships on ESPN+. And Baylor Acrobatics and Tumbling going for their 9th consecutive national championship. It's going to be NCAA sport here in 2 years. And I'll tell you this much, Edward. We're out here. Jacob Williams, one of our producers at Baylor Plus, is out here. He's doing a great job. I'm trying to make sure, that he handles his business. Okay. But he does a great job. But this team, pound for pound, man, I mean, the athletes that are on this team and the things that they can do is pretty spectacular.
Yeah, and 9 straight championships in anything. I'm talking not even NCAA sports, but anything. That's impressive. So doing it on this level is it's crazy to think about. And hot take, I think they're going to do it.
Yeah. Hey, one meet at a time. But you think about Bailey Humphrey, her story. Of course, you got Peyton Washington, many others. I think there's some really good personalities out there on this team. Some great followings on Instagram and TikTok, and these are some influencers on this team. And so just really impressed. And so I think if you're out there listening right now and you've never seen a meet, I'm telling you right now, tune in. I get fired up. This week is big, and I've been around Big 12 championships for football. I've been at the national championship on the sidelines in Indy when the men won. It's as good as anything out there that we do. And so this week, hoping to hoist another trophy. Won't be easy, though. And I'll say this much. Hey, everybody tries to knock off. We're Goliath, okay? You got a big target on your back. And so in order to pull this off and do this year after year, I mean, it's not an easy thing.
I will say, for the people who haven't seen a meet, I'll plug Baylor Plus one more time here. You can go watch the full 2023 national championship, Baylor versus Oregon, on Baylor Plus. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. Get you ready for first 3 rounds, I guess first 2 rounds and championship this week. So if you haven't seen it, go check it out. And yeah, it's super impressive. I came here, I didn't know what the heck acrobatics and tumbling is, but the more I've gotten to know this team and watch them, it's crazy the stuff they do. I could never do that. I don't even think I could do it with, I don't know, a cat. Some of the stuff they do. What's something light? Loaf of bread?
Yeah, I hope you can. You need to start practicing. Okay, we're going to send Bailey Humphrey over when we get back to Waco, and she can show you some of those skills. But yeah, I mean, I'll say this once again. Pound for pound, who are the best athletes on campus at Baylor? Acrobatics and tumbling, hands down. And so the things that they're doing, the weight they're throwing around the weight room, the acrobat, the mobility and flexibility. I mean, it's just remarkable. And I was telling somebody today, I can't touch my toes, right? So I couldn't do that like at age 10. That stretch and touch in gym class, nope, no dice.
You got to do some yoga, my man. Get loose.
Yeah, I don't stretch enough. But hey, any event, really looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun and all coming your way this week. I'll say this much. We got so much content at BaylorPlus.com right now. How am I supposed to do my day job? You got all these things.
It's overwhelming, man.
Yeah, there's so much.
It's overwhelming for fans. They got so much to watch. Imagine how it is making all the content, right? Behind the scenes. Yeah. It's fun times, though.
And I don't know. We got some great things coming. A&T, some items coming next month as well. So looking forward to that. But a lot of fun and a lot of sports still remaining with about a month and change left in the academic calendar season. That'll do it for this edition of Inside Baylor Sports, a Sport and Story production. Thanks for listening. For Edward Corin, I'm Justin Hoff. Have a great Wednesday, and Sickle Bears.